Welcome to the very first episode of the Table Talk series powered by TR Leadership Hub. So today we have amazing guests for the very first episode. We have my mentor, my leader, Coach Sam. Fortunately, we won't be doing the formal introduction, but you can read that on our Instagram page at TR_Leadership Hub. You will be able to read Coach Sam's profile. And also we have Manasseh Mashi. It's so good to have Monli here. His other name is also our stage name, am I correct?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, beautiful. It's Monli as well. And we have a very amazing, beautiful woman. Her name is Adela. Good to have you, Adela.
Hi.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. So just to get started, the topic for this very first episode is behind the scenes. Behind the scenes. But to get intimate with our guests, we would like to have an intimate segment. Guess what? For the intimate segment, I would ask the guests this or that questions. So please, Adela, Coach Sam, and Manasseh, be ready for this. So let me start with you because you are very close to me here. So we would like to know, are you an inside or outside person?
Inside.
Beautiful. Sam?
Inside.
Wow. Adela, inside or outside person?
Outside.
Thank you for being the No wonder you're on vacation. Okay, so Monli, burger or pizza?
Pizza.
Coach Sam?
Neither.
Okay, Adela?
Pizza. Definitely.
Okay, Monli, YouTube or Netflix?
YouTube.
Netflix.
Adela?
Neither.
Okay, so let me stay with Adela right now. Mountain climbing or relax on the beach?
Mountain climbing.
Awesome. Coach Sam.
Okay.
Relax on the beach.
Relax on the beach.
Okay, so I would like us to describe ourselves in 3 words. 3 words. Molly, let's start with you in 3 words.
Creative. Creative and creative.
That's awesome. Good to meet you, Molly.
Yeah.
Okay, Coach Sam, in 3 words, describe yourself.
Private,
Mhm.
curious, ambitious.
Awesome. Adela, to you, describe yourself in 3 words.
Explorer, mother, weirdo.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I would start with the next phase, which is the main question segment, which also I would like to say, if you are yet to subscribe on our YouTube page, you may want to check right now and then click on the subscribe button. So do not just watch us, but click on the subscribe button at TR Leadership Hub. All right, so into the business, most times we celebrate great results. Like the world generally celebrate great results. We're like beautiful things. Greatness is attractive, success is attractive, but there is always the behind the scene, the process, the hard work put into it. So I would like to start with Coach Sam. How did you begin? Is this what you have always wanted to do? How did you begin?
In retrospect, I've always been drawn to what I'm doing. Because even as a kid, there were events that played out that shows I was meant to be in the public space. I always found myself talking to people, even as a kid, back then in Sunday school. And as a primary 5, I was speaking to the wife of a president.
Wow.
And I was barely 10 years old. So I think this entire journey found me, basically. But of course, you are not, in this part of the world, you are not groomed, you are not guided. So in the course of growing up, I found myself doing something totally different, read a totally unconnected course. I read computer science, but after graduating and then as a core member, it just became a burden. So, there is this vacuum, something that feels like you can't satisfy it. You're always finding yourself doing something you can't explain. And you find people coming to you for questions that you don't know where you get the answers from. So as early as in my 18, 19 years old, married women were coming to me for counsel.
Wow.
People were coming to me for conversations around rape, around molestation, around career issues. So I'm very sure that I found myself in serendipity. This field called me, and I'm happy that I followed it because it's been 12 years now, mainstream, and I can't be more fulfilled than I am now. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Coach Sam. So to Adela, we would like to know, how did you begin?
I love the answer you just gave, by the way, Sam. I feel like each of us have some sort of a calling, but it takes us different amounts of times to really understand what we want to do and why we want to do it. We have this saying that we always mention. It's a Japanese one, saying that sort of vision without action is a nightmare, and action without vision is a daydream, So this idea that a lot of us dream of something, but they're not doing anything for it. And then the other part of us are just doing everything you can imagine, but you don't know what you're dreaming about. And I think that was me. I was always the person who tried to do as much as I could, but I had no idea why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's the same for me. It's almost 12 or 13 years that I'm training companies that we're working with procrastination. We're helping people find their visions, find their motivation. And I somehow feel like it all clicks into one spot now, me understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing. But it was a long way to find what it is that is the true calling. And I feel like we need to sort of be mistaken and, fail and do something we were not supposed to do and think that this is our career and then rethink it again. And it's okay. I think that it's okay to fail. But more than that, it's very important to just sort of search as hard as you can for what you need to be or what you should be, what fulfills you, what makes you get up out of the bed every day. And I think that I found it now, and I'm really happy that for all of us, it's actually helping others to make their life better as well. So that's pretty much my why.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adela, for that apt response. So to you, Molly, how did you begin? Because most time when people see you on big platform with Asha, with Kid and the rest, they're just wondering like, oh, Molly is out there. So how did you begin?
I think we can all agree that we're not responsible for what found us. We're not responsible. So every time I create, I always feel I'm not responsible for this. I don't know where it came from. It always amazes me. I get to be on the receiving end of it. So how I started was by playing. Music was fascinating to me. I loved to enjoy music, and I became curious as to how music was made, right? So that sort of hung over me for a very long time. And there's this thing about your creativity nudging you until it doesn't go away until you live it out.
Sure.
So that's kind of what happened to me. I was in school, it followed me there. Came out of school, went for NYC, it followed me there. Everyone sort of just knew me for something, for that particular thing. And not just that, I began to find new ways of doing things. That was when I ventured into a cappella music, no instruments, 100%, and discovered that there's a whole bunch of people who are looking for that particular sound. So I love to experiment. I love to see how music improves the quality of life of everyone around me. And I'm also very curious about how music affects people health-wise, mentally, physically, emotionally, and all of that. So I have tried to listen to sounds that do that for people and replicate it, basically, and then add pieces of myself into it. So I just began as a result of curiosity, creative curiosities in music that just came to me. Yeah, that's pretty much the story.
Wow, that's very fantastic. If there is something that is common between our guests, you all mentioned the need to help people with emotional and mental health issues. And procrastination.com, Adela, also help resolve such. And we all know Coach Sam, more like the king of emotional and mental health in the city of Abuja, Nigeria as well. So I would like to ask, for example, Coach Sam, you own Soccer Online Business Study Group, you have the octopus. They literally creates, sometimes I'm wondering, how do you create all of these things at the time? Like in a split second, I'm wondering, boom, Coach Sam has created something out there. I'm wondering, like, how is this man pulling this through? And how have you been juggling all of these activities together?
Okay. So when I was having my birthday this morning, one statement crossed my mind about me. I'm a private person, but I'm a community person. I've just come to embrace the fact that I'm a community leader. So I have a very large community of people, offline, online, who believe in what I do. And that has become the instrumentation of my structure. I am very fascinated about creating stuff. I like, it's like a brainwave. I see a need or I hear something and then I just conceptualize it. I notice that I'm very quick to identify a solution about something I have observed. So I embrace that brainwave. But what helps me is that I don't attempt to implement any brainwave. I'm not interested in implementation by myself. I'm interested in results, but I look for who can connect or who is gifted or who is skilled in the implementation of a brainwave. So when I catch a brainwave, the next thing that comes to my head is who can do this thing? And I find someone in my community, I discuss with you, I leave it to you, and because that is your area, that's your forte, it actually turns out more beautiful than I would have done it. So I have a lot of ideas everywhere that people are running. I don't need to take credit for it. I'm not interested in the credit. I'm interested in amplifying it. I'm interested in sharing it. But I just want to see that different people are able to tap into different solutions to help the larger audience. So I don't shut down any brainwave when it comes to me like that, which most times happens when I'm taking my bath or when I'm driving or when I'm like in this conversation. I catch brainwaves in group conversations. People are gisting. So in my head, I'm having a conversation. That's why privacy is very key for me because I'm constantly ruminating over stuff. But once I catch the brainwave, the next thing is who can do this thing better than I will? And then I just drop it. And it is a law of reciprocity because as you give people ideas to run with, they come back to you with a bigger harvest. And it just amplifies the results. So till I die, I will never retire.
Okay, that's very awesome. But I still want to stay with you because you mentioned a very great word, community.
Yes.
I've been wanting to know, how do you manage these communities? Like, you have communities that are people from different parts of the world. At least I know that very well. How do you manage these communities?
So I create a community for a purpose, which is usually idea driven. And then I make sure that in that community, we have designates that own the community. So every community we have, even if I'm the founder, I'm not, for instance, we try to create what we call governors or coordinators or whatever name we give it. I just want someone in the community who connects with the purpose of the community to own the community. I just want to be a figurehead. Don't give me any problem. Don't solve any problems there. So that's how I'm able to replicate. People wonder why I have so many groups and communities. They think that this guy just creates communities, but the good thing is every community has its own structure, its own local leadership. And they are excited
Very
So
good.
imagine you pay to join a community and then you are granted presidency to run the community. You're like, oh, wow, I'm a king here. So it's fun. It's fun. Authority. It's fun seeing people have power. It's fun seeing people have some form of responsibility that they own to manage other people's purposes and ideas and passions. It's so inspiring to see people in communities who have been given some form of leadership steer the people in that community in a direction that is collectively beneficial. I mean, it's unexplainable. So that's the way it works for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Coach Sam. Wow. If we end the Table Talk series already, we've learned quite a lot. This is more than a master class. Okay, let me take this to Adela. Adela, I know you have a book, the End Procrastination book. So I'm wondering, how did it become a company? And how are you able to juggle all kind of activities together? You have a very robust team as well. I saw that on Instagram. So how are you able to coordinate all of these things?
You know what? I think that it's thanks to other people as well. You talked about community and sort of empowering each other. And for us and social media, so many times it seems like, oh, Adela did it, or, Sam did it, or John did it, or Peter did it. But somehow we forget that it's always a lot of people behind maybe just one thing. And with the book and the company, it was a little bit going together. We first started training. We first really started looking to research and talk to universities and reading a lot of scientific books regarding the procrastination and postponing and sort of why people are not living their life to the fullest, why they're not like really tapping into their potential. And then slowly from that, the book came out and we thought, hey, that's a great topic because, people will always be procrastinating. They will always be born and die. And so you would need weddings and funerals and birth plans. But hey, procrastination always going to be a topic. And which actually proved right, because now we have 25 translations. So 25 different nationalities can read about the topic. But
Wow.
to come to how we manage everything, it's always the team, it's always the community, it's as well our ambassadors that help us with different projects, it's our publishers, and it's our I don't know, tons of people, from IT department to my assistant to people doing our social media. And I feel like we're just trying to live by this simple saying that we took as our motto that says better self, better world. So even at the end of the day, if I help one person to be a little better, or if I'm bettering myself, it helps us to make the life better around us. And I think that that's sort of the heartbeat of the whole team. And this is why we're pretty much seeing like we're doing everything, but we're just trying our best. I promise. If it sounds great for the outside people, we're happy. But it's always a little bit of a struggle. It's always a challenge. I don't think I can do a job that would be secure and safe and easy. I love to be challenged daily. So yeah, maybe this is the correct answer. It's the team.
Awesome. Wow. I think there's a great connection between Adela and Coach Sam in this room.
For sure.
So, right. So I really think, okay, the essence of Table Talk series is also for connection.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I really think Coach Sam and Adela, after this show, would need to meet with one another. So if Adela and Coach Sam,
Good to meet you.
so you guys can collaborate to do something great out there that will shake the world. So let's go to Molly. I would ask you a totally different question.
Sure.
I know creativity sometimes wears us out. All creative sometimes doubts themselves. So I would like to ask you, are there moments where you just put out the song and you feel that this is the world, or people may not really like it? And if Coach Sam would agree with me, there's something very funny about the target audience or about the market generally. Sometimes a very simple, less effort post will just go viral. Sometimes you will just be wondering, why are people paying for this course? I recall one course by Coach Sam, I think it's the OSP. It was just supposed to be freestyle kind of course that became a very big community in the city of Abuja. Over how many members?
90 now.
and the paid
Wow.
coach
Paid
amount of
450K.
450,000 for
Wow.
nursing.
Wow.
Can you see
So
how?
it's just a very random idea. It
Wow.
just took off.
Wow.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
So it wasn't extremely planned for. You understand? So at that moment where you create sounds, music, and you just maybe feel, oh, I think I might get into the way. I don't think this will work out.
Almost every time.
Please share.
Almost every time. One of the most challenging periods for me was 2017 and 2020. I just come out of the Nigerian Youth Service Corps in 2016, actually. Sorry, 2017, I had just finished. So I was clueless and I didn't want to, I didn't want to go with the norm, take your certificates, take your CV and go everywhere. So I sat down and started creating, repetitively creating. But while I was creating, I wasn't seeing any feedback. I wasn't very active before then, but I decided to be, and I wasn't seeing much feedback. Just a few of my friends encouraging me to keep on going. I wasn't noticing, but over time, more and more people started encouraging me to keep on going. But during those periods, it was dark for me. In 2020, when there was the need to now, when the need to make a lot of money from what I do was pressing on me, and I was creating magical stuff, and people were saying, nice, great, dope. But I wasn't really seeing money from it. And then, that was another low for me. I was like, nah, I can't do this anymore. Unfortunately for me, that was the exact time that my work, my job, my side hustle, and what I actually want to do for myself aligned.
Wow.
So I work as a sound designer and a songwriter. When I come back home, I continue writing songs for other people, and then I also write songs for myself when I have, the time. So it was almost like downhill, and then one spike, and then it's just been going up. But it was very difficult. Every time I post something, even now, there's just that little doubt or fear, like, oh, what I'm posting, are people going to like it? What I'm putting in, are people going to like it? But then at the same time, it's almost like one conscience and another conscience pulling you in different directions. At the same time, I get to say, okay, even if no one enjoys this, let me enjoy it first.
Yeah.
When creating and when I'm putting it out, let me enjoy it first. So that's the attitude I always counter the negativity. Yeah.
Wow. I love the word you used. You mentioned that there were dark times. So I was going to put sound. I would like to know, what are the dark moments for you? Or at that time where you just feel this coaching thing, make I just rest. So for the international audience, let me just rest. Can't I just be myself, give baby boy a rest?
Wow.
So how do you keep yourself to show up regularly?
So prior to 2015, I used to have these internal struggles around whether this thing will work, whether I was just taking a stroll in the park, and whether this thing you call coaching and all stuff, maybe you should find a way to get a job. Because in the Nigerian market, somehow everybody suddenly became a coach. And then so it beclouded that sense of understanding who was authentic or not authentic. And then there was a lot of negative energy around all these coaches all over the place. So 2015, yes, there was a lot of struggle. But from 2015, I think I like to reference that year as the year I was unleashed. The beast in me was unleashed in 2015. And I think that's the last time I had any struggle with anything I'm doing. I can't trace any moment that I feel like, this thing. In fact, in the coaching industry in Nigeria, I'm very distinct by just the way I do my structure and business. So in terms of dark times, I think that my dark moments, if any, would be around how to preserve myself in the face of the communities that I lead.
Mm.
Because for me, that's the biggest need for me now. The areas I'm learning how to create an adaptation. So many people see you as the savior.
Mm.
They see you are resourceful. They see you are very available. They say I'm empathetic. I'm compassionate. Yes, they think that I'm accessible, which is true. But not many people understand the boundaries to give you room. Not many people understand that when you're not in that zone, you just want to rest. Okay, so like yesterday, I thought today we just sleep all day. And while I was sitting there before we came online, I was seeing messages after messages and different documentation I'll probably have to do after this recording, after this session. So for me, that is the struggle that I've moved from struggling with the craft.
Yeah, and self.
I have moved from the doubt of whether it will succeed. I can never be hungry in this life again. I've passed that stage. I can't be poor in this life again. I've passed that stage.
Sure.
I can't, if I don't do anything, I will always get jobs. I've passed, so there are stages I've passed by God's grace. But that stage of people knowing that this man has a private life, he has a family life, and that balance, not to turn people off or snub them or ignore them, and then having to take care of your private self and self-care and family care. Those are my own current learning, for them struggles. So that's where I am.
Yeah.
That's where I am. I guess these things are in stages.
Yes, they are. Very beautiful. I saw Adela nodding her head, especially when he mentioned that there are coaches everywhere. Do you have any comments in respect to that?
Oh, I don't want to be mean or anything. I think of myself as a nice person, but I feel that a lot of people are just becoming coaches lately, and they feel entitled to give opinion and train and coach, and somehow they're thinking that they're doing a good job, but they're not. And I don't think that they are bad people. It's just, the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So that they think they take one coaching class and they become the expert, and then they try to give advice that a lot of the time it's just very bad. And they mean nice, maybe they try to help, but the outcome's a very opposite. And somehow that scares me, because I've studied a lot. I have a team of people. I do my best. I come through huge companies. And if you would ask me still if I'm thinking that I'm 100% bulletproof, God, no. I still have a lot to learn. I will still make mistakes. We all do. But somehow people are lately, and maybe Sam, you're going to agree with me, they all look for quick wins. They want to change their life tomorrow. They think that they come to you and you will be like, oh, ta-da. And now you know it's gonna just be great. I'm gonna write you a divorce, just good life, enjoy, huh? And they just it's just, it's not about money or time. It's about the grit. It's about being okay to fail and say I failed and I fudged something up. Sorry for my French, but that's the way it is. And I feel like a lot of coaches are bringing this promise of we're just going to work your life for you. I would never promise that to anybody, not a company, not an individual. I will help them how, but the hard work is going to be up to them. And I think that people don't hear that because it's tough.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much, Adela, for that powerful answer. Let's take a break. So we will take a 5-minute break, Adela, and then we'll back to you. You will tell us your down moments as well, some of your struggles in the industry in 5 minutes. Let's take a 5-minute break. with you, Adela, I would like to know your down moments and your personal struggles in this journey.
Wow, how much time do we have? Because we can be here for a long time. You know what? I'm gonna tell you the darkest, I think that the darkest moment that sort of connects the life that I used to lead and the life that I have now. Because now people talk more of a sort of well-being and psychological health and everything. I grew up in a communistic country. So I grew up, let's say, very poor, very not able to travel, not knowing much, sort of 4 years. When I was 4 years, 5 years, we had a new government, things changed, things were really slow. And I somehow grew up in the generation that everything was forbidden at the beginning, but now it was a new world. And somehow that to us, it made us want to do everything, want to be everywhere, want to study everything, want to know everything, want to participate in everything. And that at one point actually escalated in you can call it a near-death experience. My heart pretty much gave up on me. Now we call it, when you're having a breakdown, when you're having I don't have a perfect word for that. It's just my heart literally stopped working as it was supposed to do. And I found out that I was just overworked. I had no idea what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. It was the day where, the moment where you think that everything is over. Luckily, my mom is a doctor and she was there to help me. And it was like a wake-up call for me to realize that I cannot push that one person, being me, to the fullest, to be everybody's dreams, to do what I'm supposed to do, to be everywhere, to have the life everybody wants for me. And for me, this happened on Friday. And over the weekend, I actually sold the company that I had. And I decided to totally start anew. I had great experience. I mean, by that time, I was already traveling all around the world. I had great connections. But as we talked at the beginning, I was sort of missing the why. And I think that a lot of people, when they're going through burnout, when they're having, when they're having their darkest moments, it's because they're doing something they should not be doing. Or maybe the society is pushing them, or the community is pushing them, or somebody else, or their parents, or their loved ones into doing something that's not, you can call it a calling, something that's not sort of, making their heart beat. And I feel like we're talking a lot about maybe burnouts. We're talking about personal health and getting healthy and getting work-life balance. Two things here. Work-life balance doesn't exist. Nothing is ever going to be balanced. Life is just always going to throw something your way. You're going to become a mom, a dad. You're going to get married, get divorced. You're going to move. You never know when that's going to happen and how that's going to happen. So to me, rather working hard, being as prepared as possible. That's my Girl Scouts talking. I believe in this, just sort of being prepared. And number two, we barely talk about understanding really why we're waking up in the morning. What is the reason? And for example, I hate to fly. I massively hate to fly. I'm super scared. I'm the old lady grasping a stuffed animal, mildly drunk, trying to survive every flight. And I always do it. And I'm thinking, why am I going through this? And very easy answer. First of all, I want to know the world. I want to get to meet as many people as possible. And two, I really love my job. So I get my ass into the airplane and fly there because I know I can help them. So to me, the darkest moment, definitely not knowing what I should be doing and just being too hard on myself. And I think that letting a little slack, sort of being kinder to ourselves was the biggest lesson learned from this one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adela, for that beautiful answers. This is so beautiful. Molly, so to you now. How have you dealt with the challenges you mentioned over time? Because this leads to my next question. How do you manage the influence that you have right now?
How do I manage
the influence, like the attention from your community, from people, schedules you have? And congratulations to your happy married life.
Thank you very much.
So how do you manage all of these things? For example, I know before now, if I'm to invite you for any platform, just what, I'll be there. But now you still have to check with your wife to and all those things. So how do you do
that? For the most part, I run and hide. I didn't say this earlier, but I'm also a very private person, very reserved. That's the word. I don't think there's anything wrong with being reserved. I love it. Although when there's need for it, I come out of my comfort zone to do what I need to do. But when I say run and hide, I don't mean literally run and hide. I just consciously make out time and say, okay, this is not gonna touch this time. This is not gonna affect. This is what I'm gonna do now, and that is not going to affect it, basically. So I just kind of I give myself slack where it's needed because it helps me in the long run. When I give myself slack, I'm able to regroup, regroup my thoughts, replenish myself, so that whenever I come out to interact or to, create something, it's quality. It maintains the same quality, the same, beauty, that it normally would. So basically, I just give myself time and give myself some slack. I don't allow schedules to overlap. It's difficult. It's not as easy as I'm making it sound. Sometimes I get, sometimes I get dragged, into the mud doing things I didn't plan for, but I just try. I just try. It's just part of being human, I guess.
Thank you for sharing that with us. So I would like to ask Coach Sam, what are the plans you have in place to managing the pressure that comes with influence?
So some years ago, I used to think that everybody that came to you for help needed help. But that's not true. So I stopped qualifying what help people need. And that's good enough. So when people come to me or approach me, I need help. I need you to save me. I'm drowning or I'm dying. Oh, yeah, Jesus Christ. I allow for you to qualify the help you are looking for. And I direct you to locations or sources of information that you need to help yourself. So all I've been doing now is being like a signpost. I'm just a directional sign, really. You will get help by yourself. In fact, when I was training to be a life coach in 2010, one of the first things we were taught in life coaching class is people are the experts of their problems. You're a novice of people's problem.
Yes.
Now I'm activating it. So when people come to me, my job is to help you find where you can get the help you need for yourself. So that way, I don't see myself as somebody that is going to be stressed by influence. Influence for me is like a glass. You're seeing through it, and people are able to tap through what they see. And it doesn't have to be contact. It doesn't have to reach you. So I've built a lot of immunity around what people call influence. This thing is vanity, really. This thing is just a passing. So for me, I just want to be me. I want to enjoy my life. I want to be sure that I'm eating when I should eat, sleep when I should sleep, provide the resourcefulness people need, tap into it by yourself, be fine for yourself. I want to take care of my daughters. I just want to live a very romantic kind of life. So for me, that's my definition around influence, because I've realized that people don't love you for you. People love you for what they get from you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you're all hung up on influence, you will just kill yourself. Sure. To the international people, you will kill yourself. So if you just understand that, you realize that you don't stretch yourself too thin on someone else's account.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, until that person picks him or herself up, that help will not last.
It won't mean anything to
It
them.
won't mean anything. So this influence thing, it got nothing on me.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for Sam. I love that. So Adela, let's hear from you. How do you manage the pressure that comes with influence? Let's hear from another client.
Can I add one thing to Sam here? Because I am loving everything you're saying. All three of you guys. But you saying spreading thin, a little bit too much, pushing everything to the limit. I love this. My mom keeps on reminding of this. Like in the airplane, when something happens, it says, give the mask to yourself and then help others. I feel like for whatever reason, as human beings, we have the tendency to put the mask to everybody else first because we feel like we have to help, or we're in the eyes of public, or somebody sees us. God forbid Adela would procrastinate for 10 minutes because she wrote a book about it. Dude, I'm master procrastinator. I'm okay about that. Watch me binge watch Netflix, YouTube, you name it, okay? Just because I said does not mean that it does not exist on my browser, okay? But this idea definitely of sort of giving them first. Oh, come on. Let's just be nice to ourselves, and sort of make sure that we're breathing before everybody else does. And I feel like for some reason, in a few years, all the people who are there on socials and everywhere pretending to be the bright and shiny armor, always doing the right thing, always living the best life, when the filters are going to get out and they're going to get banned, oh, we're going to see the real life. So first of all, I don't think I have much influence. I'm the worst influencer in the universe. I always tell people it works. Look at my Instagram. I have cows and mountains. And then people follow me, and then 10 days later they'll be, Adela, but it's only cows and mountains. What am I telling you? It's cows and mountains. Like, I live in Switzerland. What do you think I'm going to put there? Okay, chocolate from time to time. You know what I mean? So a little bit of the authenticity and honesty is what I'm missing, and definitely not thinking of influencing. But yeah. Think about the mask in the airplane. That's what I want to take from this part, to just sort of be nicer to each other and show yourself as you are to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Coach Sam also mentioned that. Also profound.
But
So let me stay with you, Adela, and this will be the last question. So here in Nigeria, sometimes we can have unwanted policies that can change the trajectory of things, especially with organizations. So you really can't say your business have a particular lifespan in Nigeria, because some policies can just disrupt your pattern, your processes and all. And this is the main thing about behind the scenes. But people just see the result. They don't know the homework you have to do behind the scene. They don't know how you pay your staff and all that. So are there moments where policies affect all of your plans over there?
Oh, wow. This is by the way, an information and sort of acknowledging that it happens for a lot of people, but something that, you feel like all of us are equal, that all of us are fighting the same fight or living the same life, because at the end of the day, we're sort of all perceived the same, and not a lot of us see what everybody has to struggle with. And I somehow feel that, and maybe that's something that's obvious, maybe something that's not. I sort of feel like we have a tendency to always look up. I would get to this level of job, I would be this senior, I would have this much money, I would have this car, this house, and I'm always looking up to the people who have better car, better house, more clients, more followers. And we have a tendency to sort of forget that we should be looking sort of down from us and thinking, oh my God, how happy I am that I can have a vacation, that actually take time off, that I can be with my daughter, that I have internet, that I can talk to you guys, even though it's across the world, that I'm actually going to have a glass of drinkable water. And then if something happens to me, I have healthcare. And maybe not exactly the answer to your question, but to me, it's always seems like an aha moment. And I always like to open with this or talk to people about the fact that maybe just a little bit looking for being more grateful for what we have than rather always looking up to what we want to have is a good thing to do daily. You have gratitude journals. We understand what is the science behind being grateful. And everybody tells us to do journaling, to write down how great your day was, but how many of us really do it? And I think that if maybe we would set up daily reminder just to say, thank you for the water we're drinking, and something happens, you can go to the hospital. That will be lovely. I'm not saying that it's the same for everybody. Maybe people do. But I feel like the more you have, the less you have a tendency to be grateful for what you have.
Wow.
That's deep.
Wow. Very.
Sorry if it's too deep, but it's honest.
No, deep is good. Deep is good.
Beautiful. I think I would like Coach Sam to build on that.
Thanks, Adela, for that. It reminds me of a statement a friend taught me in 2012. She says, less is more. So your last statement was quite profound. And I think that considering the kind of terrain where we operate from, where, like TR said, one stroke of policy, in fact, not necessarily a policy, just someone not liking your face can mean something very different for your business. And it doesn't have to be on the policy, it doesn't have to be a government instrument, just someone who has attained one small growth in power can just do crazy stuff against your business. So my perspective to business in Nigeria, for anyone who is going to watch this, is you should be the asset. Whatever the structure you set, whatever the business you're growing, the company you're building, you as the founder or the management or the guys in the corporate governance must be the asset, which was one of the things I made sure I caught early. Today, I'm able to move away from any of my businesses. They will run. But whether they run or not, I have built a kind of experience, credentialing, and goodwill that can bring in all the revenue for any of the businesses I find myself, whether as a board member, an advisory board member, as a coach, as an advisor, as a CEO, as a founder, whatever the level. I'm able to leverage goodwill to bring business to those businesses. So that way, once we understand being the personal asset, that is you being the asset, and the asset here means you know your craft, you have strong goodwill, growing goodwill, and you, like she said, where you're kind to people and you're focused on value, giving value and solving problems. It really doesn't matter what government policies they throw. You find that you pivot, and it's the same goodwill that will follow you wherever you pivot. So yes, government is a very critical component of any business. But for me, once you have transcended beyond being fixated on the brand you're building, you're fixated on the product you're selling. If it has transcended into I'm solving daily human problems of human beings. You're not solving problem of microphone and solving problem of devices. You're solving human problems. There's no government policy that will touch you, which is why I'm really, really passionate about communities. I'm very focused on, and which is why I chose it as a doctoral dissertation. Taking it, I want to study communities for the next 3 years as a doctoral dissertation, so that I can understand the science and art behind bringing people into a community and giving them maximum value, where they become the advocates for anything you're selling. So if you wake up tomorrow and you want to sell air, they will bring people for you. If you wake up tomorrow, you want to sell your skin, they will buy it. That for me is the philosophy around business.
Also, I think you normally say moving people from, is it familiar to favorite?
Yes, from familiar to favorite.
Awesome. Also, thank you so much. This will be the last phase of the Table Talk series, and we'll be right back. You will cut that part off. So I want us to take another 1 minute break. This last phase is very easy. It's more like the this or that, but it's not the this or that. Okay, so it will stress you a bit, and then we will get into business.
You can stare into my eyes the way you do and leave me alone. Stare torrents to my waters and not expect me to ride the wave. Laugh so loud that I forget the sound of hate in space. The fire burns, I can't get out. I've grown crazy for you.
So to the last phase of the Table Talk series, I would do anything spontaneous that comes to my mind. So Molly, pick a favorite song and then just sing for a minute. Let's hear you. Adela can't wait to hear you sing, right, Adela?
Trust me, you would lose all your followers and listeners. They would cancel YouTube. They would just cancel the internet if I started saying. It's the worst thing you can
Have you
imagine.
sing Adela? Don't worry about that.
For some reason, every song ran away from my brain.
Or should I pick my own favorite song?
Which one?
From your group?
Oh, okay, yes, I can sing a nice one song. So I'll sing Lunatic by the SOS.
That's my favorite.
Hope I remember the lyrics. I'm nervous. It's all right. So, you can stare into my eye and leave me alone. Not expect me to ride the wave. Laugh so loud that I forget the sound of hate in space. The fire burns, I can't get out. And I've grown crazy for you. There's a lunatic in your town. I've grown crazy for you. There's a lunatic in your town. I've grown crazy for you. In your street, by your gate, in the corner, in your water, in your food, everything you do, watching you, and I've grown crazy for you.
Wow, that's super. This is solid.
Yes,
Your voice is just natural. I love
Yeah.
the texture.
By
Also,
the way, the Isumas is my band. I'm a music producer and a member of the band. So
beautiful. Please do not forget to read out the profile. Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you so much for that, Adela. So most people ask me, normally ask, how am I creative in my presentation? Adela, in terms of presentation, is my role model. She's just good with this art thing. And one thing I've learned from Adela is how to break complex things down into simple things. Yeah. And the same thing goes for Coach Sam. No matter how big the subject is, they make it very relatable. So guys, read up the profile and follow them up on Instagram, everywhere. Follow them or stalk them, you know. Yeah, so to Coach Sam, of course, I won't ask you to sing, and I will ask you to, and I will ask you to dance. I won't ask you to dance, so don't be scared. But I just want you to make a quote from any word that comes to my mind, 2 words. So I will mention any 2 words, and that's it. Goes for Adele as well. I'll mention any 2 words, and then you make a quote from it. Amazing.
Choose to be an amazing soul every day.
Okay, I love that. I love that.
That's too good to follow. What he said. What he said. I just sign underneath that.
Just sign on it. Because Sam is the octopus, so this might be a bit easy for him. So I'll give him another word: inspire.
Inspired. Inspired.
INSPIRE.
Oh, inspire. You don't have to wait for anyone to inspire you because you're already inspired from birth.
Wow.
You're already inspired.
Wow. Awesome. Wow, I'm loving this.
You should be a motivation quote generator. People will text you a word and you give them this golden stuff. Wow. Hands down.
It's happens daily. So Coach Sam generates daily quotes. You see another reason why you should follow Coach Sam on all platforms. Once again, it's talking. So to you, Adela, take a deep breath.
Are
So
you
I
gonna
would like,
you gonna give me a word and I have to come up with an inspirational quote? That's just gonna
yeah.
go someplace.
Okay, let me
Okay.
give you the word beautiful.
Hmm. Interesting. Can I not give you my quote, but can I give you
Anyone, anyone.
somebody that I've heard of? You
Yes.
know, Lord Robert Baden-Powell, he's a founder of Scouting. He says, try to leave the world a little better than you found it. And I do this at work. I try to make the world a little better than I found it. But in my personal life, I change this quote always and ask my husband, he knows it. I say to leave this world a little beautiful, a little more beautiful than I found it. And that's why I sort of try to clean the beaches and rearrange the furnitures and, just to make it a little bit more pleasant. So maybe just not thinking about how beautiful you are, but leave the beauty behind you. That can be a good quote to think of.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
That's
There's a
amazing.
beauty.
I feel the viewers will just be screaming. There are people there. Okay, so to the next word. Intentional.
Be intentionally authentic. The same effort you put into everything, put into your authenticity.
Wow.
I don't know if that could be attained ever, but Jesus, we put so much intention to be the best and look the best and all this. Well, I'd say intentional authenticity. Just be you. It's great already.
Wow, this is beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. Thank you so much, Adela. So this is your final question. Give us three brand names that anyone give us three names that you are influenced by or people that you so much admire. Any three names so that we can check up on them as well.
Do they have to be alive or
No, no, they don't have to be.
people that inspire me? You know what? I will go with the Lord Baden-Powell, the guy who started scouting in the world. I feel this idea of preparedness, the idea of community, the idea of humbleness. He's a person that inspires me. And talking about humbleness and how to live your life. One other name, Randy Pausch. Have you ever heard of Randy Pausch? He wrote a book called The Last Lecture. Read it. Very, very tiny book, very short to read. He's a professor who found out that he has pretty much 4 months to live, and he dedicated that to his students and to sending a very strong message. And I feel that book, the same as Viktor Frankl and his sort of, looking for meaning, are two most important thing. And the third one, and I'm sorry, but that's going to be my mom. I always have to mention her, but she's a goddess. And I'm going to see her in 10 days. I don't get to see her all the time because she lives in Czech Republic and I live in Switzerland. But a person that inspires me with brutal honesty and all the love and delicious cooking is definitely my mom. You guys have it the same, so don't pretend you don't, okay?
Awesome. So to put Sam.
Okay. I have to say, there's a Nigerian businessman called Femi Otedola. I love his sense of balance. Astute businessman, but fantastic family guy. He loves his kids to nuts. Very generous, always looking out to help people, use large sums of money to help people with especially critical health cases. He's just an ideal man that I like to model after. He loves luxury. In fact, he takes a 3 months vacation every year.
Wow.
That's my kind of guy. Like, just be balling, solving problems, but be balling. So he comes first. Femi Otedola.
Don't be a mechanic.
So that's my first person. The second would be Elon Musk. Yeah, very controversial guy, but I like his hunger. Elon Musk does not look at your face. He just wants to fix things. So he identifies a problem and he goes all the way. He knocks down any obstacle. I love his hunger. I love his resilience. When I read his books, when you are near collapse, near financial mess, near bankruptcy, and you keep fighting. there's just something about that guy. Like, I've not even started. So I love his sense of invincibility. He's invincible. That's why I like him. I know that he has some, when he has to do with interpersonal relationship, he's not so strong. So that part of him, I forgive. But this other part of his tenacity and grit, I love it. That's going to be the second. The third person that I'd say I love and I admire, I can't find a name because there are so many names crossing my mind right now. But I like to say I would pick Malala Yousafzai.
Yeah.
Because she's been there, like she's been through the hell of hell, you know, and she's just gracious. She reminds me of Nelson Mandela. When you have faced hate and all provocation, but you still come out graceful and kind, that is not a human thing. Yeah. There's just a different level to that. So I admire her for that. Her attitude and character reinforces my belief that people will hate, people will do crazy stuff, people will offend, people will cross the lines. But you shouldn't change the fabric of your being to match the hate. Wow. Once you replenish your nature, you replenish your soul, you're comfortable in your skin, being kind, kind. So those are my three top names this morning.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. So to you, Monli.
My three inspirational people to me, Tom Cruise. And the reason why is because he's an amazing actor, but he's also a Scientologist. One of those people who combine two seemingly, divergent things. And he's an excellent Scientologist. In fact, there was a research he did, which was laughed at some decades before, and he was vindicated because it was found to be an accurate research. So I love, he inspires me. The second person is Bobby McFerrin, a musician. Bobby McFerrin is a phenomenon. I don't know if there were any others before him, but he was the first to do vocal music the way he does it. I don't know how, it always fascinates me. I always go back to his video, By the Sea. The name of the song is By the Sea, and I watch how he was playing the crowd. He's the first person who started playing the crowd, where he would give them a note and then they sing. You give another note and then they sing, and then he combines everybody's sound. He plays someone else, some kid, I can't remember his name, he does it, but Bobby McFerrin is the first person who did it. Wow. Right? And he inspires me. He's one of the people who inspired me to going into a cappella and beatbox music. And the third person that inspires me is another controversial person, but I like him nonetheless. Kanye West. Kanye West is a unique guy. He's futuristic. For some reason, he always made his music some years before its time, and then people started coming into it after he had done it. Wow. So he doesn't think, he's not conventional, and he's not just unconventional for the sake of it. He's seeing something that people want that no one has seen yet. So that's it for me, the three people.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Sam. Thank you so much, Monli. Thank you so much, Adela. You all are gracious. You made this very first episode easy, relatable, and beautiful. Thank you so much for your time. But I would like you to just say one more thing each, just maybe a thought or a statement, just anything that comes to your mind. And if you don't have anything, it's fine. I will just close the show. So let me start with Adela.
You're making it tough for me. You know what? I'm gonna go easy. Thank you. Thank you for your time, the most valuable commodity, and I'm really happy I get to spend mine with you guys. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much once again, Adela. You are gracious. Adela woke me up very early. How is everything? She was 100% involved. So grateful heart from me and my team to you. Thank you so much. So to Coach Sam.
I would like to ride on Adela's last conversation around gratitude. I thank God for everything. I can't complain. I'm a man God has helped. I'm riding on the wings of help. I can't believe the things happening in my life where I am now. I honestly cannot complain. So I'm grateful. And I want to thank you too, Tia. You know, it's been 7 years now.
Yeah.
And you have not for 1 second looked back from watching my back. I can literally go to sleep when you are on my matter. So I can't thank you enough. I can never repay you. I don't have the capacity and resources to pay you back. But I know that God does not owe. So God will visit you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach Sam, for always being there. You are a father indeed. Thank you. Always. Thank you. So to you, Molly.
I'm just going to say something that Adela said earlier on. Be kind to yourself. If you're listening and you've been trying and you've been, frustrated and you're down, just be kind to yourself. Eventually, with a little repetition and encouragement, you will do very great and things will come around. So be kind to yourself.
Thank you so much, everyone. And a big thanks to those who are really behind the scenes. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for the planning. Thank you for the support. Thank you, the team at TR Leadership Hub. You guys are exceptional. Thank you so much. Viewers, please try to share and subscribe. And this is the very first episode of the Table Talk series titled Behind the Scene. See you another time.
Never miss the Table Talk series with TR Leadership Hub.
Hi. Never miss the Table Talk series with TR Leadership Hub. Trust me, it's going to be fun. You don't want to miss out.
Hi guys, never miss the Table Talk series with TR Leadership Hub. Subscribe and don't forget to share.
Never miss the Table Talk series with TR Leadership Hub. It'll be great.